Well, here we are. I'm going to do a little video for my YouTube subscribers of making some Nanking cherry wine and maybe a little bit of mix of Evans and Sweet Marie cherry in it. So here's the kids busily doing one of our seasonal harvests. Now these Nankings have already been thoroughly picked over, and we've come back, we've made jam out of them already, and you can see they're still just loaded. I mean, this bush has been, we would call it almost picked clean. And you can see how much there is here. And I wanted to point out that I have two 90-foot long rows here, and I'm starting back there some Evans cherries. I started all these from seeds, and I got them haphazardly sort of all over the place elsewhere too. Okay, once you get your berries or cherries or whatever you're using, these are Nanking cherries. Once you get them in, I like to use my fingers. Give them a good nice wash in ice cold water. I like to use my fingers to go through them. That way I can look at them as I go. They say to pick off any stems at this time, but I just basically, you know, I'll siphon off the top a little bit before I start. Usually siphon it off a little as I go, and I let the stuff fall through my fingers, and then I get nice clean berries. And that's about as many as I want right now, because I got to put them into my colander. Okay, so when I get over to here, I take my berries out. I don't pour them in because you don't really want any water from that, like sink water or tap water is what I mean, because I use reverse osmosis water in my wine. If you add really nice spring water, okay, and I got good water here, I just don't want to use it. The other thing is that you don't want to squash your berries. You take them really gently, and you don't overfill your sieve, because then you're going to end up with the berries into your juice, which you don't want. Okay, so incidentally, this sieve here is my wife's grandmother's sieve and pestle, so you can imagine how much jam. And my wife just finished making 3.5 quarts of Nanking jam. We got a long ways to go, but in any case, we're gonna use up what we can and leave the rest for any friends that want to pick them, or the birds, I guess. Okay, so it's important that you not smash this, because you may break the seed, the nut, and then that could cause some bitterness in your wine. Okay, just be very sort of gentle with it, because you're going to put these into your mesh bag anyway, so you'll get all the nutrients and juices out of your berries as you pick them. So then I put them into here, and from there they'll go into my mesh bag. Okay, So you can see we're getting a nice bunch of juice there. Alright, signing off, toss start. So there we are with our finished amount of juice and pulp from 15 pounds of Nanking cherry. Okay, just show you, obviously before you start, everything has to be extremely clean, okay? So I pour several changes of boiling water, even though I've cleaned it before. I clean it again, use a little bit of bleach and hot water, and then I pour 2 changes of boiling water through this thing, usually, I don't know, a gallon each change. Let it set for a while. I just like to be clean about it. Just to show you a quick way, these are Campton tablets. Just a quick way to crush them. And that's where I'm going to just start. Okay, with my Campton tablets. So, just once for that. Four and 5. So, for this recipe, 5 Campton tablets crushed. Okie dokie, so now that I got those 5 Campton tablets crushed in there, I'm going to add, well, it doesn't really matter in the order, but citric blend, should be citric blend, but, well, it's actually supposed to be an acid blend, but I'm using citric acid because I couldn't get hold of it. And it calls for 5. I'm going to reduce it in this batch because I noticed my last batch was a little bit of acidic. So I'm going to put 2.5 of that. You can go ahead and put 5 if you like. Pectic enzyme, for sure 5. It's not rocket science. You can, I use my thumb and scrape it sort of flat like that. 4 and 5. So basically that's almost the whole bag. So that's stuff I'm using. And give them a little plug or whatever there, I guess. And then the yeast nutrient. And that calls for yeast nutrient, 5 teaspoons. Make yourself up a little list ahead of time. So you eat 15 pounds of cherries, 5.5 gallons of water, 15 pounds of sugar, 5 teaspoons of acid blend, 2.5 teaspoons of pectic enzyme, 5 teaspoons of nutrient. Okay, so I guess I went over on the pectic enzyme. Okie dokie. I don't know why that is. 5 teaspoons of nutrient, 5 Campton tabs crush, 1 pack of the yeast, and starting SG is 1.090, which I don't worry too much about. The pectic enzyme is just to clear the pectic thing out, so that won't hurt. Okay, this stuff here, try not to breathe it. That's basically 2 there. Okay, so I basically know that I got 5 here, so I'm just dumping it in. I don't like to breathe this, it says not to breathe this. Caution, keep out of reach of children, avoid inhalation and contact, skin and eyes. Not my favorite thing, but I guess it's important. Alright, so now, from there, we go to the old bagaroo. And here's the boys going to step in. This is where actually your really dark juices are. We don't want any spillover in this. That's where your really dark juices are. Okay, and then the next one. So this is all the pulp that I got from my 15 gallons. Pour it in. So this is all the pulp I got from my 15 gallons. Now you mash this around. You can tie it off now. Nothing fancy and not too tight or you'll never get your bag undone. So this is where some of the finest, oh boy, tough to make that knot. I just make one overhand knot and I don't tie it too tight. And then I mash it. Hopefully I haven't moved my bucket around too much. It's not in the video. Okay, so mash this around really good. And that takes a good long time, I gotta tell you. So I'm not gonna get all of it out. Right now I smash it down the bottom. And I think I said it goes without saying, you have to be spotless. I use actually Comet on my arms, and I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with that, but I wash with Comet, make sure that underneath my nails is spotlessly clean, and you know, I don't like doing it like stomping on it with my feet in front. So okay, so that part's done, and now the juice. Very carefully, and in it goes. Okay, I'm going to get all we can out of it. And we'll come back and collect whatever's left there later. Okay, and stir that all around a bit. All those things going. Poke the bag lots. Now the only thing I didn't put in here is bentonite because I didn't have any, and so I'll pick that up tomorrow and I'll throw it in tomorrow. Now you also don't put in your yeast at this time. So I'll put in the yeast tomorrow. Okay, this is an ongoing process. And now it goes in the 5 gallons of water. Well, it's actually 5.5 gallons of water. So, get my strong young son here to pick that up for me. In goes 5 gallons of water, 5.5 gallons of water, 5.5 gallons of water. And there you have her. Now we'll, tomorrow I'll add into bentonite. Normally you'd add the bentonite in right now. That's okay. And you don't, by the way, need bentonite. Bentonite just helps in your clearing of your wine later, okay? So we don't need the bentonite right now, so don't worry about it. And alright, so I've verified that about 2.5 cups, close enough, is 1 pound. So 15 of these. I'm not going to make you watch me do 15, but you can watch me do a few. Okay? More. Okay, so 14 and 15. And last year we liked a little bit stronger. I think it's okay to go a little stronger. So let's go 16, 17, 18. How about that? Get a little stronger wine out of this. Seems to work for me. As Dr. Marlowe would say, works for me. So then, stir it all up. I think I mentioned we're not going to add the yeast right now. And then tomorrow we'll add it. That's not really supposed to be a plug for yeast, but anyway, that's the type of yeast I'm using for home wine. Okay. Lid goes on. I'll stir it a little bit more. Make sure it's well stirred. Punch the bag around a bunch. It's really important to punch this bag around and come back. When we poured the stuff from the bags, it's not coming out of the netting, but when we poured the cherries from the bag, when we poured the juice from the bag, we got a few spare cherries in here. Hopefully not too many pits floating around. Anyway, no biggie. Okay. Put the lid on her. Tomorrow we come back and put the yeast in. Okay, I wasn't going to do this part because it doesn't make any difference in the end of the wine. It's just helps you know. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use what's called a wine thief for those of you that haven't made wine, and that's who I'm making this for anyway. No use teaching winemakers how to make wine. They'll tell me about 1,000 things I did wrong. So anyway, we're going to take a hydrometer reading on this. Remember I said 1.090, and I'm going to just assume I have a thermometer. I can take a temperature and be exact, and I may do that, but I'm not going to show you that because I'm pretty sure that right now I'm sitting, actually that should be enough because I got to still make room for my hydrometer in here. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that the temperature of this is right around 70 degrees, which is about what we want to be. Okay, so now we're going to take a hydrometer reading for specific gravity. And it's important when you do this to spin it to get the bubbles off of it. Okay, any bubbles that are in there will hold on to it and give you an incorrect reading. So you want to be fairly accurate about it. Maybe I'll give it one more spin. Okay, and I can pretty well tell already that I'm at 1.10. It's coming around there. 1.10. Now, when I look at my little chart here, 1.10 is 13.2% alcohol per volume when it's finished. Okay, and that's probably come up a bit because of putting the extra sugar in it. So I like to add a little extra sugar, and you still get a dry wine with this batch. I know that from experience. So okay. Okay, now we've had a whole 24-hour period pass. Now we're going to add our yeast into the wine. Stir it up first. Then in goes my yeast. Now there's two schools of thought on this. One is just to leave it sit there on the top, and the other is to stir it in. Well, I've done both. I kind of like to stir it in. So anyway, the reason that we wait till the next day is we've put in those little tablets, and they have a tendency to destroy all the wild yeasts and stuff that are in the berries. So if you just go ahead and dump your yeast in straight away, well, obviously they're going to destroy your yeast. So that's why we wait. So we wait for then, and 24 full hours, let it get, and that gets the berry juice and stuff all kind of, I don't know if you can tell from the earlier part of the video, it's a lot darker now. Poke the old bag down the bottom around. And come back and do this every day, a couple times a day. Come back and stir it around, and have a look at it and enjoy it. Okay, thanks for watching. This is part 1 of my video. Signing off. Toss start.